Hello everyone, this is my reaction to yesterday's ISC, Alpha 4.0 Engineering.
Resource Network enables us to actually give you the gameplay that you were always looking for, which is having meaningful multi-crew gameplay, which means that it really makes sense to have multiple people running around on your ship.
Of course, we all want meaningful multi-crew gameplay, but there's a difference between having good multi-crew gameplay and shoving it down our throats, and so far CRG is pretty much on the shoving it down our throats route. Like for example having cheap bulk material, like salvage, in individual containers that have to be moved one by one inside a reclaimer. A reclaimer should have an automated compactor in the rear, like every garbage truck has for decades. Like for example having one person inside a Polaris that has to press the fire torpedo button. Like for example having one guy inside the Scorpius DS, aka Antares, whose only job is it to press the snare and EMP button. This is not multi-crewing, Chris, this is shoving it down our throats.
Fundamentally, Resource Network is a replacement for the pipe system we had in the past that you may have heard about.
Yeah, good old CIG. Never have a plan, never have a concept, never think in advance, never think things through. So now the pipe system will be replaced. I wonder how many man-hours, how much time, how much money Chris wasted on the pipe system, only to have it landed in the trash now in year 12.
So right now we just have one type of hydrogen fuel, but if we want to extend that in the future to having like multiple types that have some specific benefits on the thrusters, it's very easy now to add that resource.
Did I ever mention that Star Citizen has tedious time sinks on top of tedious time sinks on top of tedious time sinks? Don't worry, more to come. So get ready for having multiple types of hydrogen fuel in the future, the good stuff and the not so good stuff, and get ready to manage all of this, which will be a lot of fun.
The goal right now is to have all the components on the ship being physicalized. That means that the things that will take damage will be the components. That then means that those components are reasons to the failure of your ship.
I like the idea very much that components are failure points. For example, your shield generator gets destroyed, you don't have shields anymore, the rest of your ship might be totally fine. I have very big issues though with the fact that CRG put components wherever an artist could find a spot. There is very little redundancy. For example, ships like Gladius, like Ares, have all important components in the same spot, both shield generators side by side. Again, CRG put no thoughts into this. If you want to have components being failure points, fine. But please give us some kind of redundancy if you have more than one component of a certain type. So don't put them into the same spot.
The biggest thing we are aiming for is switching from your health pool of the bespoke ship to just moving that completely over to the physicalized component. So damaging the component is damaging your ship.
I like this idea very much, it makes total sense. But again, why put important components in the same spot? If you want to have a system where components are kinda your half of your ship, and if those components get destroyed, you are in trouble or you don't have certain functions anymore, that's fine. But putting components wherever an artist could find a spot is a very bad way to do it. It should go without saying, if your ship has multiple shield generators, multiple power plants, don't put them into the same spot. But this is CRG, where thinking things through, where logic does not exist. This is very interesting. Armor seems to be now just a component with health from 100 to 0. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's say you have armor all around your ship, you are getting hit in the rear and your rear armor is destroyed. Your side and front armor should still be perfectly fine. But no, it's not just one number. Once again, CRG goes the lowest possible effort. This is a massive simplification and really, really gamey. Feels very arcadey.
I think this is the part where the biggest change for the players happen, because there the gameplay of repair comes in, and then you can revitalize your ship.
I like this idea very much. I like the idea of repairing our components, so you have a functional ship again. But once again, it's just another beam. Why is everything in Star Citizen a beam? Because this is the lowest possible effort and this is the only thing CRT can do in year 12. What's wrong with using a wrench or a screwdriver like many other games do? But no, this is Star Citizen, Beam Citizen, lowest possible effort.
Well, we mentioned one of the new components, which is the life support generator. So let's talk about life support. So it's the temperature, it's the atmosphere composition, it's the pressure inside the room. Your main responsibility is making sure that there's always enough life support resource produced to maintain a healthy atmosphere in the ship.
There's a big problem with life support. Usually in Star Citizen, we are on board a ship for a few minutes, maybe for 2-3 hours if you are on a very long salvage session, but you are not on your ship for days and for weeks. Even in World War II, submarines could be submerged for more than 24 hours. They had scrubbers to remove carbon dioxide and they had oxygen bottles to replenish oxygen. This was very primitive technology. Knowing CRT, they will life support totally overdo, like they did with hunger and thirst, dying of thirst in 3 hours, dying of hunger in 5 hours. If your life support system fails, you should have air for hours. But no, I'm pretty much sure as soon as your life support system fails, you will suffer the consequences if you don't wear a spacesuit and a helmet.
Or if you vented a room, that the room is filled again.
Does this mean we are now getting the atmospheric room system CRT showed us the first time 8 years ago? I like the idea of an atmospheric room system, but the problem is most ships, even newer ones, are not built with an atmospheric room system in mind. In a lot of ships, even newer ones, you would have to depressurize a huge part of your ship just for one person to go into EVA. Chris, I totally like the idea of an atmospheric room system, but why didn't you build ships with an atmospheric room system in mind? For example, Raft or High Sea, if you're on a moon without breathable atmosphere and you want to leave the ship, you use the main elevator. There is no airlock between elevator and top level. Those are just a few examples. It would be very easy to take care of this when building a ship, but Chris seems to think reworks of reworks of reworks of reworks don't cost money and time.
Another aspect the players have to counter or react to is misfires on components.
Misfires are something that is already in the game in some form. Thruster charges, seal generator failure, stuff like that. We're just expanding it a bit, and pretty much the idea is that, items that are damaged, that are too hot, or that, for example, are very old and degraded, will start misfiring.
Most games, even very good racing simulations like for example ACC or iRacing, do not simulate random defects because it's not fun. Components that are old or damaged and have misfires might be okay, but this is CRT. CRT will way overdo it, so get used to having misfires very often in Star Citizen. On the other hand, if CRT will do it right, and don't count on this, misfires will be something that happens very rarely, so why even have it in the game?
The goal here is that you first need to bring down the armor health value to get to the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons. Then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship.
I'm fine with this, but again, I'm not fine if you have multiple components of the same type, like multiple shield generators, power plants. Why put them into the same spot in most ships? The answer is CRT put components wherever an artist could find a spot. There were no thoughts spent on redundancy.
Or if you did think ahead and brought spare items with you, you can simply exchange them to pristine new ones. But with the caveat, it only works, just as a reminder, for size 1 and size 2 components. Size 3 and above cannot be exchanged using the tractor beam detach and attach mode.
Actually, size 3 components are not that big. It would be easily possible to move them with a tractor beam. So why can't we do it? Yeah, once again, I know I sound like a broken record. CRT never has a plan, never has a concept, never thinks things through, never thinks in advance. Bigger ships that have size 3 components are not built with moving those components inside the ship. You would have a hard time getting those components through doorways and through ladders. Which leads to the question, how does the shop do this? I guess it's magic.
The biggest change that happened to the engineering UI screen is basically the power management part of it. We moved away completely from slider control for every individual item.
Please tell me there will be hotkeys for this. Clicking with your mouse might be fine if you're not in an emergency situation, but I want to have hotkeys if I am in a hurry.
You are able to take the power assignment you have at a given time and save it locally on your computer, meaning that when you fly again with the ship, or even if it's not your ship but somebody else's ship, you can quickly apply your presets. This is very useful in the middle of combat.
Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.